Basketball is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all of your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet all of your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, or even golf. Head to betonline.ag to receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts. All righty, folks, we are back with another episode of the What's in Your Bag podcast with Andrew Robinson. And today we have a special guest, man. This guy, me and this guy go way, way back to the prep school days, man, in the NEPSAC. But now he's doing his thing on the biggest stage in the NBA with the LA Clippers. I'm happy and pleased to be joined by none other than Terance Mann. So, Terance, thank you for joining us, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
No doubt, man. And shoot, man, like I said, it's been a while, man, since we were back in the NEPSAC days, man. But I kind of want to get right into it. Obviously, you know, I first met you back in 2015 when you were at Tilton. But obviously, you know, you were born in New York, you know, raised in Mass. Kind of talk to me a little bit just about your upbringing, like, you know, how you kind of started hooping, you know, what brought you to Mass, and then, you know, obviously how that kind of molded you into the player that you are today.
Yeah, so I was born in Brooklyn, New York. My mom was assistant coach, grad assistant coach at LIU Brooklyn at the time. So I kind of always been around basketball, man. After school, I went to school down the street. My dad would pick me up, sometimes take her to her practices, sometimes just go home, whatever, whatnot. But I was always around basketball. Played a lot of soccer too. My family's Caribbean, so in the fall time it was just straight soccer. Winter time it was straight basketball. So I did that till I was 11, and then my mom got the head coach job at Northeastern University in Boston. So we left New York, went up north to Boston. That's where I moved. That's where I started, you know, really growing up, playing basketball with my friends out there. We played basketball outside a lot. And then we started hearing about the prep school scene. So I went to prep school at age 14. I started living up there at boarding school and just, you know, focus on hoop.
Yeah. Now, speaking of just the whole prep school scene, man, when me and you were there, man, the prep school scene was crazy. I mean, I only went to Putnam for 1 year. You were obviously at Tulane for a little bit longer, but I mean, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Adams, my teammate Hamidou Diallo. I mean, the list goes on and on. Wenyen Gabriel was at Wilbraham Munson when we were there. The NEPSAC is crazy, you know, when it comes to just NBA guys, talent come out of high school, man. But let's talk about some of the I guess your favorite memories, your favorite moments from playing at Tilton, and then how you think that kind of prepared you for, you know, what came next in your career.
Yeah, I had a lot of, you know, cool moments, and then played a lot against a lot of cool players too. You know, guys who made it all the way to the NBA, guys who, you know, any given night you're playing at least 3 Division I players in that league. So, yeah, I mean, I remember one game versus Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Adams, and them at Brewster. You know, they had a stack team. They were like 11, 12 Division I players deep, and we took them, I think, to overtime or something at our house. But that's like a rivalry because they live up the street. Their school's right up the street. It's like 20 minutes from us. So those games are crazy. Even when we played y'all, man, like, you know, first half we were blowing y'all out. And y'all figure it out. Y'all come all the way back. You know, the game goes right down to the wire. So games like that, man, just cool games like that. And then, you know, eventually you find out, you know, who ends up playing D1, and you're like, damn, like you really played against a lot of players in that league.
Man, it's crazy. And I think it's even crazier for me because I was from Maryland, you know what I'm saying? So for me, coming to Connecticut, like, you know, for those who guys are watching this and don't know, I mean, in the DMV, you got the Mathers, the Gonzagas, the Paul Six. I mean, it's the Catholic League down there is a crazy league. So I was always like, you know, the WCC is like, you know, bar none, the best league in the country, ain't nowhere near it. And I came to NEPSAC and I was like, wow, I mean, it's definitely like, I think you can compare. Obviously, it's a little different because guys are older in these leagues, but the bump was definitely crazy, man. But I kind of wanted to ask you, kind of transition a little bit. Obviously, you know, you leave Tilton, you end up committing to Florida State, and you know, looking back on it for me at least, from the outside looking in, I feel like in the last maybe 5 years or so, 5, 10 years, A bunch of wings have come out of Florida State. Yourself, Dwayne Bacon, Malik Beasley, Jonathan Isaac, Scotty Barnes just last year. Plenty of wings, have kind of made the NBA from there. But I feel like when you were coming there, that wasn't really a thing yet. And you can tell me if I'm wrong, but so for you, like, what was the reasoning for why you chose Florida State at that time? Because I feel like now it's an easy pitch to kind of go there as a guy like yourself and play and make it to the league. But for you, what stuck out about Florida State that made you want to go there, for the next 4 years?
For me, it was the vision. Like it was exactly that, to start something new. I could have went to Indiana, I could have went to Georgetown, I could have, went to all these schools where, it's normal for a 5-star or a 4-star, whatever I was, to go to a school like that and make it to the NBA. But I wanted to try my own path, and I had ended up talking to two other players who wanted to do the same thing, Dwayne Bacon and Malik Beasley. So we were in the same class. And we were all roughly the same position, but we were like, you know what, let's just go there and try and do something and like change the narrative, because it was a football school. They had just won the national championship with Jameis Winston. They had Jalen Ramsey, Derwin James, all these football players already going there. And we were like, let's go there too and make it a basketball school. And that's exactly what I did, man. I went in there, did 4 years. I was a 3-year captain there and just made it a basketball school. And from me, Dwayne Bacon and Malik Beasley, that turned into Jonathan Isaac, that turned into Devin Vassell, who's on the Spurs, that turned to Pat Williams, who's on the Bulls, that turned to Scotty Barnes, you know what I'm saying? That turned into, Fiondu Kabengele, who got drafted with me to the Clippers. It just got the ball rolling. And there's a bunch of players playing overseas. I mean, Xavier Tan-Mays right now is in Australia. He's killing it. Brian Angola, like a bunch of high-level overseas players also. So, yeah, man, we just had a vision early. We were young, but we were mature, and we changed that whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And just kind of a follow up on that, you mentioned all the guys that you obviously have made to the league and from Florida State, but you guys also went to an Elite Eight and a Sweet 16 while you were there. You mentioned you guys were coming off of the football team winning national championships. Like, what was that like around that time, man, when y'all was getting it lit? But historically, it's a football school, so it's like, was y'all still feeling love around campus? Like, what was the vibes around the town? You feel like?
So my first 2 years, we were still like the little brothers on campus. You still feel like, our games were getting lit, our games were selling out, but everybody was waiting for football season. And then my junior year, senior year, when we made the Elite Eight and stuff, it was the opposite. Like you could feel, everywhere I went on campus, somebody wanted a picture, all you know what I'm saying? It was just crazy. I stopped going to class. Like I was like, man, like class is a lot for me because people want to talk, you know what I'm saying? People want to, you know what I mean? It started getting crazy on campus everywhere I go. And shoot, if there were NIL deals back then, I would have been a millionaire for sure. Like my last year was cool. But yeah, man. So it shifted. It took about 2 years, 2 good years to shift that energy. But yeah, early on it was tough.
Yeah, we had Marquise Reed on the podcast last week, and he was talking about the same thing, kind of dealing with that at Clemson. Obviously,
Right.
in football school, and they actually went to the Sweet 16 as well while he was there. And
Right.
so I find it interesting, man, what that process is like, man. But I you know what, me, us mid-major folks, I went to Quinnipiac and then Coppin State, so I didn't have that big time campus life, man. So like, I've actually never asked anybody this before because I feel like when you go to a school like Duke and Kentucky or maybe UNC, like stuff like that is kind of expected. But for you, like being at Florida State when that was going on, like what is that actually like for you trying to be a student and not being able to kind of, I guess, have that peace of mind or like do things? Like how chaotic does it really get, around campus?
It definitely got chaotic. And and our campus is right in the middle of HBCU, FAMU, that's on the
Yeah.
other side of the tracks, and TCC, where most of the kids in Florida, it's a community college, go to also, and our school's right in the middle. So you have, I think we had like 50,000 kids at our school, and then each of the other schools had like 20 plus thousand,
Right.
all in like a 3-mile radius. So it's like it's a lot going on. Like every day, it's almost like that's why I'm so used to LA, because it was almost like the same type of energy.
Right.
Like a lot going on every day. There's something. You got parties, you got girls from all sorts of schools, all sorts of backgrounds. You got a whole bunch of distractions, but I think our coaches did a great job of keeping our heads on straight and keeping the main thing, and like, this is only temporary. Like, you're only going to be here for 4 years. You want to set your life up down the line. And I think we bought into that.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's a perfect segue into my next question, man. When me and Ace first got into the journalism thing, we had a segment called Coach's Corner, and we had the opportunity to interview Leonard Hamilton during that series, and that was probably one of the best interviews that we ever had, as far as just the things that he was saying, the gems that he dropped, especially just talking to another African American coach, about just what that path was like and things like that. What can you say about what that experience was like playing for Coach Hamilton at Florida State, and just some of the lessons that he was able to teach you, over your 4 years? Because I feel like he doesn't get enough credit, for being like the legendary coach that he is in the college basketball game.
And he won't, due to him being, African American coach. He won't get that credit. He won't, they won't. They might do something for him, but it's not going to be to exactly what he deserves compared to all the other coaches that get that. Right. But man, like, life lessons was an everyday thing. Like, every day he has you thinking, is my head on straight? Like, that's the main message that he gives. Like, every single day you walk out of that gym, you're thinking, like, am I doing the right thing? Is my head on straight? Am I preparing myself and my family to be, great and set down the line? And that's all he wanted, man. He didn't care about, he didn't care about wins, losses. He just wanted everybody to just, change their family's life. He was big on that. And he was big on being a man, and he was big on respect. And, like, their quote, their famous quote that sticks with our team is, respect is the ultimate currency. Like, not money, not anything. I even have that tatted on me now. And yeah, like, respect is the ultimate currency, man. You have respect, it's worth more than anything. And I think that was, one of the biggest takeaways I got from going to school down there.
Yeah, that's love. That's love, man. So putting the cap kind of on the college experience, obviously, I feel like by this point, everybody's heard, the story about you going to the G League camp and then you leaving and your phone about to die, everything like that.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard that, make sure you look it up. We're not going to have bro, recite that whole thing, but just talk about what your draft prospect was like, man. Because obviously, you ended up going in the second round, but I feel like from what I've heard, like, when you kind of are in that like late first round, second round range, you're working out for a bunch of teams. You don't really know where you're going. So what was that draft process like? Did you have any idea of like what team like that the Clippers might be interested in you, or was it kind of like, yo, man, I can go anywhere. I'm just, what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, my draft process was interesting, man. Nobody wants a 4-year college player. Like, it's just, nobody wants that. And, though it comes with maturity and knowledge of the game, and, I feel like the 4 years college players that came before me showed a great deal of, they're going to be good off the court. They set good examples, so I don't understand why. But yeah, man, it was a process. I had to work out for, I think, 14 teams, multiple cities in multiple days, commercial flights, a lot of interviews. The draft process was probably the most stressful process I ever had of basketball in my life.
Damn.
In terms of, like, especially in my position, where you're hearing you can go late first round to you're hearing you can go undrafted, and it's like one day will change all of that quick. You know what I'm saying? A couple hours of the draft night, and then your life's just changed forever. So that was just a scary thing, thinking of going into the whole process, just not knowing where I'm gonna go. But I knew that the Clippers had told me, they were real interested. If I would have fell to that pick, I would probably get picked up by them. But, there were also a bunch of other teams telling you the same thing. So you never really know.
Right. So obviously you end up going to the Clippers. And I mean, you walk into a situation where, you get a chance to learn from Kawhi and Paul George. And obviously those guys are still your teammates today. But thinking back when you were a rookie, obviously as a wing, you're playing the same position as those guys. What was that like walking into a situation where, number one, you get to learn from two, all NBA level players. But number two, I think just what was that like? Like the first time you was like, damn, like, all right, these are gonna be my teammates. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was that mindset like?
I mean, my first day with the team was crazy, man. Like, I was in shock. Like, it was not only Kawhi and PG, man. It was Lou Williams. It was Patrick Beverly. It was Montrezl Harrell. It was Patrick Patterson. it was Mo Harkless, like guys I just grew up watching, all the time in general. So it wasn't just them two, it was like the whole team. I was like, dang, this is crazy. Like it was a lot to take in. So I didn't just learn from Kawhi and PG. It was all of them collectively, like, how to move around off the court, how to play the game on the court, how to stick in the league for as long as you can. Like they would always drop little gems and stuff like that. So that whole process, that rookie year was interesting, man. It was a lot of fun though.
Now, obviously, I'm a pro basketball player myself. I know there are a bunch of pros that watch this. What are, I guess, if you could say one tip or one, piece of knowledge that they dropped on you as far as, how to remain in the league or, how to be a better pro, like that you could share, what would it be?
I think the biggest thing was always be professional. Like your feelings don't matter in this game almost. Like, you know, your how you feel doesn't really matter. You got to be professional. You got to, understand the process, understand the game, and play it. And you can't just, be all about me, 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 me. Sometimes it's the team first, and that's just what it is. Sometimes it's a business decision, and that's what it is. Just remain professional, and they'll respect you for that. And that goes back to, respect is the ultimate currency. As long as you have respect in this league, especially in that locker room, then, your name's going to go a long way.
Yep. Yep. Now, I feel like one of your, career highlights, man, was that series against the Jazz, man, where you ended up dropping 39 points. And I feel like you were the culprit to end the Rudy Gobert era in Utah, because after y'all shot them Bulls out the gym, they realized that he can't go to the 3-point line, and they shipped him out to Minnesota. But for you, like as a player, like I feel like just for me watching that game as a fan, I feel like I don't know. It was crazy. I think you could tell like you was in a crazy zone. You know what I'm saying? But just walk me through that game, man. Like when that was going down, what was going through what was going through your mind? 'Cause obviously, for you, like it's not like you were, one of the main guys. Like for a role player to come out and drop 39, like that doesn't happen too often. So like, what was the mindset during the game? Like when you kept hitting shot after shot, like what was going through your head?
Yeah, so I just like it started the game before. The game before that, they started playing Rudy on me in the second half of that game, and I felt disrespected. I'm like, yo, you have a center guarding me, like standing in the paint while I'm shooting threes, like that's very disrespectful. And I was like, I'm never letting this happen again. You know what I mean? That was my mindset. Like I'm sending the message not to just the Jazz, but to the NBA. Like, come on now. Like I'm a professional basketball player. Just because I don't shoot 10 threes a game don't mean I can't shoot the threes. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I felt disrespected. So I was like, when we play them next game, I'm shooting that thing every time I touch it. Like anytime I touch it on that 3-point line, I'm shooting it because that's just crazy. Like I can make threes. I work on my game and I wanted to show, and my biggest knock going into the NBA was that I couldn't shoot.
Right.
And I was like, that's just not my game. Like I don't just go into the game chucking threes, but I can shoot, you know what I'm saying? So I just felt disrespected. So it was just a message like to the world almost like, this is what y'all thought I couldn't do. So that's why I was so locked in and in the zone because I was so mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like very disrespectful to me.
Now, at some point, did they start calling plays for you, or was it all just kind of in the flow of the offense? It was coming to you.
No, it wasn't plays for me, but we knew what flow would get the ball to me. We knew what actions would get the ball around the horn and have him in the paint where I would be open.
Right, right. I got
Mm-hmm.
you. I got you. Now, obviously, fast forward from there, that kind of propels you that into the next season. You end up signing a new contract extension with the Clippers. Talk about just after you sign your extension, man. Like you coming from being a second round pick, like the G League draft, like getting the last minute right to the combine. What did it mean for you to be able to sign that extension and finally be able to kind of, not take a deep breath, but just be like, all right, like, I finally got some
Yeah.
a little bit here.
Nah, the security aspect of it was dope to be able to sign that and know, like, A, I'm gonna have a couple more years in my career in this NBA thing, and B, I'm gonna have a lot more money too that comes with it just from playing this game that I love. So that was a pretty cool feeling. But it was also, again, a disrespect thing how I felt. I felt like I should have been first round, obviously. I felt like, I just wanted the respect that I deserve. So it felt good to get that, in that sense.
Right. Now, kind of fast forwarding to this season, right? We kind of walked it through all the way up to present day. You scored 39 in the playoffs. You know, you signed the extension. Kawhi gets hurt. Obviously, last year he's out. You know, so you have a larger role on the team. Now this year you guys picked up John Wall. You know, you guys added a bunch of new pieces, and everybody Kawhi's back in the lineup, obviously, and everybody's like, all right, bet like we're a title contender. You know, Clippers should be, you know, one of the favorites to win it all. And your role
Right.
shifts, right? Now you have to kind of fit into a new role. How do you kind of
Right.
adjust from everything that was going on last season and ending that season before that, you know, having a high in the playoffs where it's like, all right, now I might be in the mix, and now you kind of got to transition into, all right, like what do I got to do for us to just fit in and win?
Right. Nah, that's a whole nother adjustment. I was last year I was playing like almost 30 minutes a game.
Right.
The year before that I was, in the rotation almost every night. So now it's, I'm plugging in. If we need a backup point for the night, I'm backup point. If we need a backup center for the night, I'm backup center. The last 2 games I started at the 2. Before that I was coming off the bench as the 3. Now I think I'm playing a little 4. So it's a process that I'm gonna have to adjust to, but it's fun, man. It's fun being able to play every position. I guard I guard 1 through 4, sometimes 5, depending on who the 5 man is. But like it's dope being able to guard all these different players, pick up different tendencies, learn from their games, learn from other players' games that I'm guarding. I'm having a lot of fun with it right now. I'm not gonna lie.
That's dope. Talk to me about what type of coach Ty Lue is, you know, because I feel like a lot of fans watch him from afar and they see his energy on the sidelines. And I feel like there's also the casual basketball fan who doesn't really know the game that will say, oh, you know, he won a championship because he coached LeBron, things like that. And when in reality, he's one of the best coaches in the league. You know what I'm saying? And I think he proved that last season and the year before that with what he was able to do with you guys. So just talk about what kind of coach he is, what it's been like playing for him over the last couple of years.
Yeah, Ty's he's a great coach. He's a great coach, a great guy. He's always keeping it real with us players. He never has us guessing. He's like, this is what I want to do. He's very straightforward with it, and this is what I'm doing. He's big on adjustments. So if he sees something, he's gonna act on it quick. And I think that's what makes him so great, just his ability to, be 2 steps ahead at all times.
Yeah, yeah. So this is my last question about the Clippers, man. I wanna get your take on this. The Clippers will be 2023 NBA champions if this if we can do this.
If we just all buy into our roles, and I slowly see us starting to do it, and it's early, so it can get real scary.
Say no more. Say no more. I'm gonna be definitely tuned in, man. Obviously, like I said, I got my dog Ace over there, so I'm a
Right.
Clippers fan by obligation. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna switch it over a little bit, man, because obviously one of the main things about this What's in Your Bag podcast that I really pride myself on is talking about things off the court and outside of the game. And one thing that I've noticed about you is that you're a very fashionable guy, man, and you put a lot of I guess effort and care into your outfits and things like that. So we got a segment called Match and Mismatch, and we're gonna go through just a couple questions. Match is more likely, I guess, just kind of a fashion trend that I guess that's in right now. Maybe something that you got your eye on that you like, and mismatch is gonna be what's a fashion trend that you want to see go, something that you think is not really it right now. But so we'll start with the first question first. We think is a fashion trend right now that you liking a lot, that you think that maybe is on the rise.
Ooh, that's a good one. I think the fashion trend that I feel like is on the rise right now, I think like more people are transitioning to more business casual type look. Like I like that. Like I feel like a lot of guys are getting away from the hardcore streetwear to more business casual. Like, it's obviously gonna go back. All trends, go back. But I like right now where it's at, where a lot of guys are, dressing classy and making money off that.
Facts, facts. All right, and then second half of that question is, man, what's a trend that you want to see go? That's just like, yeah, that ain't it.
I'm gonna go with not a clothes thing, but I'm starting to see the people doing the white paint. The white paint. I believe, is that Baltimore or is that Philly?
It ain't Baltimore. It must be Philly because
I
I
think.
ain't seen that around. No more. I ain't from Baltimore, but I'm close.
Nah, no,
I'm close
I
enough.
think it's Philly though, but I see that starting to creep into a few videos I've been scrolling past, and I'm not jacking that. Nah.
Say no more. Say no more.
Yeah.
So obviously, man, like for you, I feel like we talked about this kind of off air a little bit, but obviously living in LA, man, and being there for the last couple of years, what do you think type of impact living in LA, being on the scene has had on your fashion sense of style? You know, I feel like you see a bunch of dudes like they go out to LA and they start like just working with a bunch of different brands and jumping into a bunch of different lanes. So for you, do you feel like being in LA has kind of influenced your style at all?
I think it definitely has, opened my eyes to. I think LA is more of a place where you can dress how you want. Like you can be you and nobody's gonna outwardly judge you. And I
Right.
feel like on the East Coast, you kind of got to dress how everybody else around you dress, or else you ain't cool, you ain't hip. You know what I mean? But in
Right.
LA, like you have a friend group that look, all five of them look way different, and I think that's pretty cool because they're dressing how they feel comfortable with. And on the East Coast, everybody dresses. Now I wouldn't say the same, but you have a dress code with your friend group on the East Coast. You know what I mean?
Right. They're gonna let you know if it's
So
hitting. They'll let you know.
exactly, like in LA, you can wear some crazy shit and they'll just be like, "Oh, that's him." You know what I mean?
I think a
So
perfect example of that, a perfect example of that is what happened to Kyle Kuzma, bro, because he was in LA wearing all type of crazy stuff. As soon as he came to DC and threw the pink sweater on, the long sleeve,
yeah,
my
they were not
God,
having it.
on his head. It was on his
That's
head.
all I'm saying.
But if he would have with the Lakers, he'd have been smooth. He'd have been smooth.
Mhm.
Um, one other thing I noticed, I listened to your video that you did on Leaf Fits where you were doing like a thrift session, and one thing that you
Mhm.
said was that you like to highlight like smaller brands and like kind of give them
Yeah.
a platform. So for you, like, what are some of those brands that you're rocking right now that you really like that you think people should know about?
I think Hounds is a big one. They're really good. Hounds, that's one of my favorite brands. They drop, sweaters, they drop jeans, they drop the whole nine. Like, it's really good. There's a lot of little brands that, I can't even think of the name that, Home Frame, they're really good. Frame is a pretty, big, they're on their way. I wear a lot of their stuff. Uh, but I just like, brands that's not, the Gucci, the Louis V. Like, I don't need to be wearing that stuff. Like, people know I got money. I don't need to go show that I got money. You know what I mean?
Fact.
You know what I mean? I don't need to be walking around Gucci head to toe. Like, maybe for fun, like, but
Right.
not that's not in my closet. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, but I like people having a brand and being able to send it to somebody that they know that'll wear and people will see it and the excitement they get. Like, yo, send me that picture that you wore my stuff. Like, I like that feeling to make somebody feel that way. You know what I mean? I like that. Make it putting people on. That's just like my favorite thing to do.
Right. Yo,
I
it's
never had nobody put me on. You know what I mean? I've been, you know what I mean? So I like being able to put people on.
facts. Yo, it's crazy you say that about the Gucci head to toe. Cause when we had a homie on, bro, he was like, he calls it the mannequin challenge. He said the same thing. He called people the mannequin challenge. They be wearing the Gucci head to toe, the
Yeah,
deodorant,
you go into Gucci and look at a mannequin and be like, that's what I want.
right?
Yeah.
Crazy. Hey man, hey, listen, man. That's the second. Hey, listen, if y'all listen to this, man, I gotta leave that in the past, man. You know what I'm saying? That's not him. Um,
Yeah.
that's a fact though. So my next question is this, man. I think I was wanted to ask this because I feel like I know so you have a stylist, and I know did some research. Her name is
Very.
Mary Francis. So um I guess it's a two-part question. Number one, like what does a stylist do for you? Like as far as like, cause I was wondering, all right, are they picking the whole fit and sending it to you? Like, are they just being like, all right, you should wear this with that? Like, how does that work as far as the collab with you and the stylist? That's the first part of the question.
Yeah, so it's like a collaboration. Like, she's like, I like this, and I'm like, I like this, and then she'll send me something, you like these two together. I'll be like, nah, I'd rather wear it with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just go back and forth on what I want to wear. And then we're in year 4 now, so she really knows what I like. So now she's just like anything she puts together, she knows that I'm gonna like it. just from working together so long. But she just shops for me. Goes out and picks stuff that she thinks I like. She connects with all these brands. They send stuff over for free. Some brands pay me to wear stuff. Like it's a whole different marketing strategy outside of the court.
That's tough. That's tough. And then so my second question, I feel like you have people. I feel like it's like a two-sided coin. You have some people who like embrace having style. I was listening to a Elite Fit's interview with D Wade and Melo, and they were both talking about they had their stylists on the interview, and they were both talking about the relationship they had with them over the course of their career. But then you got other people who post fits and they be like, yeah, like no stylist, like I do it a little my own out here. You feel me? So like,
Yeah, I mean,
what's your take on it? Like on the whole thing? Like, what side of the coin do you fall on? Obviously, since
I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna take pride in making, wearing people's stuff and making no money for it and not putting them on and not helping them out. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try and put my circle on. I'm gonna try and put my stylist on. Like if I could have a stylist and put her on, I'm gonna try and do that. I'm trying to put the brands on, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna make money while I do. I'm gonna invest in brands. I'm gonna take equity in brands. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I'm thinking about it. I'm not with the pride stuff, you know what I mean? I'm a businessman. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Period. I fuck with it. So then I guess so for you, since you have dollars, do you still shop like for stuff on your own, or is it kind of like she just tell her, oh yeah, can you go grab this for me? Like, how does that work? Do you still like, or does she kind of just handle all
I
your?
don't I don't like the process of shopping. Like I don't like walking around and looking at things 100 times and be like, should I buy it? Should I buy it? I'd rather just like see something and be like, that's what I want, and then send it to her and then she'll get it.
Okay.
But the whole like going to the store, I hate that stuff. I hate that process.
Yeah. And I bet it's kind of hectic. I guess being in the league now, playing for the Clippers, you probably can't do too much of that, anyways.
Yeah, I think what I think it is though. I'm scarred from my mom. Growing up being single, just going to the stores with her, going to the malls with her, being there for like 4 or 5 hours, just walking around all day. I'm
Facts.
scarred. Going to Marshalls, like walking around all day in Marshalls. Nah, I'm not doing that anymore.
Nah, yeah. Nah, I feel you, man. Them days is wow. You kind of get something, no, touch nothing.
Yeah, no, you just get node all day. That's probably why I got PTSD.
Nah, facts. Now, so all right, so I guess my next question would be obviously now, it's coming into the winter time now, but I don't really know how much of winter y'all get in LA. I don't know if it really gets cold out there or not. What you got in your wardrobe for the cold season coming up, man? Anything you got your eye on what you like, you know what I'm saying? What you got coming
No,
up?
I got a few. Yeah, I got a few puffer jackets about to come out. Got a few leather jackets I'm about to wear. Yeah, I'm big on jackets. Like if you look at my style, I always got like a sweatshirt or like something over. I'm never just with a t-shirt on. So I'm big on layers. So I'm just gonna layer up this winter.
Yep. So when it comes to just I guess you talk about it, say you're a businessman, you know what I'm saying? And when you talk about your brand, right? Like you have any vision down the line of like starting your own clothing brand or getting into the fashion from like another level, like down the line, like kind of what do you see? Cause I feel like, for somebody like yourself who does actually like, and one, you invest in it, you take pride in it, you actually pay attention to it. It's not just like you throwing stuff on, like you have an actual passion for it. So like, do you have any plans to kind of, expound upon that kind of down the line anyway?
Yeah, I do. I do definitely. And right now me and my team are working on taking the right avenue. Like I want my first step in it to be the right thing to do. So I don't know if it's to start a clothing brand. I don't know if it's to collaborate with clothing brands. I don't know exactly what I want to do yet, but definitely something.
Yeah. Now, how do you navigate like those brand partnerships? Because you mentioned your stylist is bringing you deals as far as like, all right, this brand wants to pay me to wear this and that. Like, so by the end of the day, it's up to your discretion to be like, all right, like, I'm not really rocking with that fit or those clothes. Like, how do you kind of determine like, all right, what you actually gonna put on your body and promote as far as like, all right, well, this brand is gonna pay me some money and I'm gonna wear it.
I mean, it's not an easy process. It's a lot of back and forth, a lot of figuring out what I'm gonna do. But we got a good system with it. And yeah, I try not to exploit brands. I try not to just go into things for the money of it either. You know what I mean? Like it gotta make sense with what my style is and what we like to wear.
Right. Copy, man. So to cap it off, man, who you gotta give us your top 5 swaggiest players in the league based on your fashion sense. It don't gotta be like the consensus, like who are your top 5 favorite dudes that you like to.
Right. That's a good question. I like, Jordan Clarkson. I like his style. I like Devin Booker. He goes with the monochromatic type style. I like Shea. The style is unique. What's that, 3?
Yep.
Who else? Who else is good? I like John Wall's been doing really well recently. He's been wearing a lot of gallery department, but he's been mixing it with other stuff, so I like that. And then the 5th one, ooh, that's tough. There's a lot, bro. There's a lot. I'm trying to think of an old head who'd be dressing nice.
I got
Actually,
my head to see what you think after you say this.
I got David Duke from the Nets.
Okay. Keeping it in the New England family.
Yeah.
Okay. I was talking to one of my boys. His name is Stan Kidd. He had a stint with the Jazz 2 years ago, but he's overseas now. And he brought up Jeff Green as one of the old heads that really be like that really be dressing. And I feel like his name got brought up on that podcast I was talking about with D Wade and Melo, but I feel like he's one of the older dudes that apparently, I think he got some respect in the fashion game.
Nah, for sure, Jeff Green, 100%.
That's a bet, man. Shoot, man, I ain't gonna keep you for too long, man. I always end the podcast off like this, man. I took this segment from All the Smoke because I think it's a genius idea. Who's one person that you would like us to have on the podcast? But whoever you say, you gotta help get them on. It could be a player, stylist, a photographer. It could be anybody that you think is dope that's doing great work. You know what I'm saying? It don't gotta be a hooper. It could be somebody who you wanna, who think that deserves some shine, whatever it may be. But who would you want to see on this platform?
I think an artist, probably try a music artist, from the area. From my area is Lil Rich. He's from Lowell, so he's from where I'm from. I think artists, they go through a lot of different things and similar to athletes. So I think just, merging those lanes would be pretty cool.
Okay, I bet. So look, after the show, man, we're gonna chop it up, see if we can get Lil Rich to tap in with us, man. That's gonna be the best, man. But nah, man, definitely want to say thank you, man, for taking the time out and chopping up with us, man. I know you got a busy season, and you guys obviously got big goals for this year, man. So I know it's a lot of things you could be doing today, man. So I definitely want to say thank you for stopping by the What's in Your Bag podcast, man, and like I said, I know my brother's gonna be taking good care of y'all boys out there, man. If he
does for
doing
sure.
his job, man, let me know. You know what I'm saying? I'll get on his ass for y'all, man. But nah, man, shout out to you, man. Like I said, it's been a pleasure to just watch your career grow, bro, from Tilton, obviously through Florida State, and to see where you are now, man. I know that from the outside looking in, for me, it's definitely been a pleasure to see you work, and a dude that was underrated and an underdog story, man. You always let us see it. So wishing y'all nothing but success this year, and I'm gonna be rooting for y'all, like I said. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me again.
No doubt, man. All right, guys, this has been another episode of the What's in Your Bag podcast presented by Bet Online. Make sure you guys are liking this podcast, giving us a 5-star rating, subscribing to this podcast if you're listening to it on YouTube. It goes a long way. It's gonna be Pull Up Tay on the outro. That was him on the intro, guys, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace. This has been another episode of the What's in Your Bag podcast presented by Bet Online.